Hi, creatives. Welcome back to the Sing Confidently, Live Creatively podcast. I'm Estelle, and I'm so excited to be here. We are chatting today about sharing our art, putting ourselves out there. I talk about this a lot on this show, and it's because it's crucial, it's essential, it's so important. It is why we are artists, why we are wanting to be performers and creatives of any kind. It's because we want to share our art. It's because we saw someone sharing their art at one point in time and we were inspired to do the same, right? A lot of times it's how we even get into creating and wanting to be a performer. We see a show, we see a theater performance, we see someone else doing this thing, dancing, writing, sharing their art, and we're inspired by them. But if they hadn't put themselves out there, then we would never have, gotten that inspiration in that way. So we also like our goal is to also put ourselves out there. Like we want to be seen. We want other people to see us and to experience our art. That's why we're doing this, right? We want them to, of course, be inspired, be blessed, be encouraged, be wowed. There's that ultimate, goal for our creativity to make an impact on people's lives, but it can't happen if they don't see us, if they don't witness what we're doing, and if we don't put ourselves out there. So, sharing our art, putting ourselves out there is so important. And so, we're going to talk today about how can we share our art? How do we perform in front of people and put ourselves out there? Starting today, like how do we actually do that? So, the number one thing that I hear from artists, from creatives, from performers, and singers, especially, is just lacking confidence and feeling like you want to build confidence. You need more confidence to put yourself out there. You want to feel more confident sharing your art, performing in front of people. You want to feel more free singing in front of people, sharing your creative gifts in front of people. And there is a lot of, yeah, just like a lot of fear that stops people from putting themselves out there or sharing their gifts. And that is totally, totally normal. Like, I want you to know that's very normal. I myself am still, building my own confidence as a singer and a performer. Like, I'm building my confidence every single day. There are things that I do to help me build my confidence as a singer, as a performer, as a singing coach. I build my confidence in myself every day. And so it starts with recognizing and being aware, of course, that you might be feeling like you're not feeling good enough or you're experiencing imposter syndrome. Being aware of those thoughts of what will they think or what will this person think of me if they see, like becoming aware of the fact that there is a story going on in your mind that is leading you into self-doubt and into fear and into uncertainty and lack of confidence. Like become aware of that. You have to become aware of that fear, of that self-doubt, and of that lack of confidence for sure. And start to take steps to overcome that. Start to take steps to uncover that. What is the root of that lacking self-confidence, of that not feeling good enough? Let's start to uncover that. Start to, find seek help for uncovering that. It's so helpful to talk to people, to share it with someone else. I talk about this in the Sing Confidently course for singers and performers to build confidence over time, right? We talk about first knowing your voice, like turning inwards and realizing, you know, this is this is how I'm feeling, this is where I am, and I need to just be aware, becoming more aware of where you are mentally and emotionally when it comes to sharing your art. What are the things that are coming up for you? Um, it starts with your heart and your mind, really. Your mindset, your way of thinking, your beliefs. It starts with that. So, one way to begin to uncover that and then start to develop a little bit of confidence and start to overcome that fear and that self-doubt that you're experiencing that you are now aware of is to engage in positive self-talk, speaking to yourself positively, turning around, like starting to recognize those thoughts when they come in and turning them around, or at least being curious about them. Why do I think that I'm not good enough to do this? Is this actually true? Is this always true? Is there any way that I can, think about this in a different way? Like being curious about the thoughts, questioning the thoughts rather than just accepting them as a fait accompli, as they are. the end all be all. And for me, this comes through journaling, this comes through prayer, and this comes through the word of God, speaking the word of God over myself, worshiping, praying, talking to God, and letting God speak to me what he sees in me and what he says about me is fundamental to me, has been fundamental to me, beginning to and overcoming any self-doubt and fear that I have around performing, putting myself out there, sharing my art, exploring new things, etc. Being an artist. I mean, it's been rooted in the word of God and prayer, spending time with God, journaling, and talking to God about those things. So letting God speak positively to me and reminding me of the truth of who he is and who I am in him. And so that is the first step, is recognizing and building awareness of your fears, your self-doubts, the things that are going on in your mind, because that's the stuff that's going to really stop you. Like, I can give you all the practical tips, but it's the heart set, it's the mindset that's really going to keep getting in your way again and again, if you don't begin to tackle that. So becoming aware of that self-doubt, of that fear, and of your mindset that you have, and starting to combat that, like literally combating, being aware of those thoughts and that mindset for sure, but then questioning it and then starting to combat it with positive self talk, starting to combat it with the word of God, with the truth of what does God say about you, combating it with prayer, combating it with journaling out things that are encouraging, that are filled with gratitude, that are filled with truth and positive self-talk. So yeah, first of all, we got to overcome some of that fear and self-doubt. And this is a process. So all of these points they're not like steps. Like, you have to overcome every single shred of self-doubt before you can ever put yourself out there. No, that's not how it goes. It's a process. But you have to at least start to recognize your thought processes and start to recognize those things that are, stopping you, and begin to pray, begin to journal, begin to question those thoughts when they come, and then begin to combat them with the positive self-talk. And so, yeah, the next thing you want to do when it comes to sharing your art, putting yourself out there, performing in front of people. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is we got to start to take small steps of action. Hello, if you've been here for like 2 seconds, you've heard me say this like 50 times. Okay, small steps of action. Small steps of action. I love talking about this because it's just so important, and it breaks things down in a way that feels more tangible and more feasible is the word I'm looking for, so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. But you have to take small steps of action to start to share your art. So, and this is happening while you are becoming aware of your self-doubt, becoming aware, and starting to pray, starting to talk to God, starting to let the word of God speak to you and encourage you, right? So this is all happening at the same time. So you're starting to question those mindsets that are not helpful and combat them. And at the same time, you're starting to take action in small ways to put yourself out there, because the only way to get better at something is to do it. Okay. Like, you can read about it, you can, study about it. Like I said, in the Sing Confidently course, I talk about knowing your voice. Part of that is reflecting on like your mindset. And also part of that is, knowing your craft, like actually like, learning things, learning about your voice, learning about your art for sure. So knowing your craft is so important for sure. That's a different episode, I would say. But, you know, one of the ways that you do get to know your craft and you do get to know how you are as an artist is by actually sharing your art. Like, when you start to share your writing, when you start to share your singing, when you start to share, perform in front of people, you yourself are already learning more about your art, because you yourself are, living in that moment of sharing and putting it out there. And you might realize something about the thing that you wrote that you didn't realize before, because now you've posted it somewhere and you're seeing it through different eyes, and you actually realize something that you didn't notice before. And so putting yourself out there is a way, like sharing your art is a way that actually ends up teaching you more about your art and about your craft. But anyway, I digress. The key part of this point is that you have to take small steps of action. So this means, like I talk about this in my course, again, like the Sing Confidently course. If you are a singer or a performer, definitely go to my website and check out the course. It breaks this down for you and goes through this for you in depth and helps you like actually take steps in doing this so that you can accomplish it. But you need to be putting yourself out there in small ways. One of those ways is utilizing online platforms for sharing your art. Like there are so many ways to put yourself out there in small ways that will not feel overwhelming if you really think about it. You can create a, you know, private or like a brand new account on TikTok or on Instagram and like just, block people that you don't want to see you doing it if you so desire. If you're just starting out and you just feel kind of nervous about certain people seeing you do it, okay, block them. Like that's fine. They won't know and they won't care. Like just do it. Whatever it takes. And then you start to just post on your story on that new, fresh, brand new account. People that you know aren't even following you, just post on the story, post on the main feed and see what happens, see who sees it and how they react and how they engage. And just start posting in small ways or post on your main account, on your personal account, and just do it in your stories. It's only 24 hours, okay? Share a piece of art that you painted, share a song that you're writing, or just a little melody, a chorus, or a part of the melody, a part of the chorus that you just wrote, and just share a little bit and see how people react, right? So you can use online platforms for sharing your art. That can also look like art communities, right? In the Facebook group that I have here um, on Facebook for performers and creatives, that is a space where you can share your art. Every Friday, you can, share your art and receive free feedback if you so desire. Utilize that. Like, and there are so many other Facebook groups for artists, for whatever your specific discipline is. You can go and find a bunch of Facebook groups for writers specifically, composers specifically, guitarists specifically, actors specifically, etc. So look for those communities and start sharing what you can do. You can also look for local opportunities like in person. I talk about this a lot, like open mic nights, local open mic nights at a coffee shop, community events, in your church. Like, is there a talent show nearby? Is there look for local opportunities to share your art? And again, it can be so small. It could be such a small thing, like just going to the small coffee shop and maybe they have an open mic night or a karaoke night. And not a lot of people go there. Perfect. That's such a great small step to take. It might feel a little bit bigger if it's like a bigger step, if it's like a lot of people that are there, but it's still a great step to take to put yourself out there. You can also even curate your own little opportunity for yourself. Like just have a couple friends come over and be like, oh, I'm gonna sing for you guys, by the way. Or oh, I'm gonna read my spoken word poetry for you guys, by the way. And it's just like two or three people in your living room or whatever. And okay, great. Like that's a great way to start sharing your art in a very, very small, safe way. You can also collaborate with other people. So maybe you feel like, oh, I'm not really ready to sing my own songs on stage or anything like that, but you can maybe one of your friends is a songwriter and you can tell them, oh, I'll sing, I'll do background vocals for you, or I would love to, sing harmony with you on this. Like that way you're starting to put yourself out there as a singer, but you're not maybe you're not feeling so ready yet to do your own music. Okay, well, sing someone else's song, work on someone else's song with them, collaborate with someone else. And you're still sharing your creativity, you're still sharing your gift in a way that feels more, that feels smaller, not smaller, but not that it's smaller to collaborate, but it feels less like all the pressures on you. It feels smaller in the sense that not all the pressure is on you. That's why it feels like a smaller step of action, I would say. And so that's another tip. So these are things that you can take and apply them in your own way. Like think about ways that you can apply them. If you have any thoughts and you're like, oh, Estelle, give me more insight, you can always DM me at Creatively by Estelle. I respond to my DMs. So you can message me. I'll literally respond and I'll help you brainstorm more opportunities or ways for you to put yourself out there in small ways. So those are some ways you can take small steps to share your art. Okay. And last but not least, when it comes to putting yourself out there, performing, sharing your art, I want you to also make sure that you're reflect and look for feedback. I talk about this also in the Sing Confidently course. It's the last step of the 4 steps that I go through to help you begin to build confidence as a singer and a performer. The last step is for you to basically continue to improve by staying in community and seeking feedback, constructive, helpful feedback, and criticism that is constructive, and even being able to, or not criticism, critiquing. And I use the word kind critiquing. So being able to critique yourself and say, oh, this is what I loved that I heard in my voice and that I saw in my performance. And this is something that I would really like to improve on, and I really need to improve on for sure. And there's nothing wrong with being able to call yourself out and say, oh, I need to improve on this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very healthy. And in fact, that's the way that we can grow. But it's also important to look for the good, like reflect on what went well. You need to look for what is actually working. I tell this to my voice students all the time, like, you have to think about what did you genuinely love about your voice when you sing that. Like, just find one thing that you really liked about your voice and that you can feel really good about. And then also, look for what are the ways that we can continue to improve. What are things that, I would love to improve in this way. And so being able to reflect on like, okay, I shared my art on my story today on Instagram, and this many people hearted it. And now that I'm looking at it myself, I'm realizing that, I kind of could do this differently. Or, I kind of was a little bit flat on that note. Okay, maybe I'll sing this again, and I'll really work on, making my pitch, improving my pitch on this song. Or you posted something in a Facebook group and you got, a lot of likes, and a lot of people were loving the song that you posted, the video, the reel that you shared. And then maybe 1 or 2 people said like, oh, like maybe you can consider, using this different, background when you're filming your self-tape reel or whatever. Like, oh, you should use this instead. Instead of letting that kind of discourage you, you can say, okay, like maybe they have a point. Maybe I really do need to get a better background for my self-tape reel so that I can submit them for auditions, and, casting directors, won't be distracted by my background. So, that's a way to differentiate between feedback that is helpful versus that is not helpful, And so something like that, you can think about, is this actually helpful to me? And if it is, then you can start to work on that. But you are the artist, you are the creative, you are the one putting yourself out there. So you have the beautiful responsibility of reflecting on the work that you did and learning and growing from there. So yeah, basically, I want to encourage you, put yourself out there, share your art. Don't hide the gifts that God has given to you. I talk to all artists about this. I talk to all creatives about this. But especially a lot of you guys are singers and performing artists, you're actors, you're dancers, you're singers, you're theater artists, just like me. And so I want to encourage you that you have a gift to give. You have a gift to give. Okay. Perform, put yourself out there, share your art, go to that audition, send in that self-tape. Right. That's another small step of action you can take to share art. It's just sending a self-tape in, Anyway, I'm going back. But the point is, I want you to do this. Do this. So number 1, become aware of the mindset of the things that you're thinking about and start to question them, be curious about them, and combat them with positive self-talk, with the word of God, with speaking truth, in order to overcome any fear and self-doubt that you are having, in order to begin overcoming it, because it will be a process. Number 2, share your art in small steps. Take small steps of action in little ways, posting on Instagram, sharing in an online community, singing and performing in front of just a couple of friends. find small ways to share your art and put yourself out there. And lastly, reflect and give yourself feedback and take other people's feedback, with a grain of salt, as long as it's but also constructive. And also give yourself feedback and see what you need to work on that you can continue to improve, and then share art all over again. And the journey continues, the cycle continues. So I hope this helps you. I hope this reminds you that your gifts are worth giving, and that it is possible for you to begin to share your gifts. It's not as it might feel very hard at the beginning when you're just getting started, which, if you're listening to this show, I know you're just getting started or you're starting again and you're wanting to build that confidence in yourself. But I'm telling you, there's so much beauty on the other side of just taking that courageous step and putting yourself out there. Like, there's so much beauty that you get. So you feel more confident in yourself because you've put yourself out there. And because you shared, even in a small way, you build confidence in yourself. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and start sharing your art, putting yourself out there, performing. I want you to do this. I want you to share one piece of art or sign up for one opportunity for performing this week. Share one piece of art or sign up for something that you're going to do to perform. Sign up for an open mic night. Submit a self-tape. Share a video of yourself singing and performing or doing your art online. And then I want you to DM me on Instagram at Creatively by Estelle and let me know how you're going to do that, how you're going to share it. Let me know what you did, or tag me if you are actually like posted it. You should tag me or like send it to me so I can keep you accountable. But let me know what you're going to do. DM me what you're planning to do, and I'll keep you accountable. And I'll ask you at the end of the week, hey, did you do this? You can also come to the Facebook group and share as well. The link is in the show notes below, as well as the link to my Instagram. So you can always go to the show notes below to connect with me. Anyway, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for listening in. I hope this encouraged you and helped you like a whole bunch, because I know that we need your art in this world. Okay. I'm so grateful that you're here. I would love to connect with you again on Instagram at creativelybyestelle.com or Creatively by Estelle. But my website is creativelybyestelle.com. And that's where you can go to find out more about the course that I mentioned a bunch of times today, because I know this course can and will help you. If you go through the steps and you are intentional about it, you will begin to build confidence as a singer and a performer if you go through that course. It is so simple. It is a 4-week course, or four-step course. You can do it in 4 weeks if you do one step per week. But you go at your own pace, and I would love for you to take advantage of that course, go through it, and take those action steps and see what happens on the other side. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode and to this show. I'm so in awe of you for being here and showing up for your creative gifts. That takes courage. Don't forget to join the performing arts community on Facebook for support and inspiration as you continue on your journey. If this episode helped or inspired you in any way, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share it with someone. It means so much. Thank you again, and don't forget to keep singing, acting, dancing, performing, and living creatively. Talk to you next time.